The HVAC implementation gave us some really clear directions. There was things that I never thought about. There was things from marketing all the way to who is doing what. We have an average size team. There's 12 in West Australia and 8 in New South Wales, and it's taken away the question of what's everyone doing. We went down. We put all the markers down on who's how does this business work in the perfect world, and I was able to go, okay, who's doing that? That was one of the clear directions and changes that we put in place, and that was an enjoyable process. It took a lot of, a bit of time, but it was certainly needed. The cards, I stood back from the table, and going, okay, where are we going with this? How is this going to help us? The outcome was that, again, I'm saying clear direction and clear understanding of how this business works in the perfect world. We couldn't have achieved what we achieved in the time that we had. The other thing was it was done in a small group. If we had a committee trying to achieve that, we would have been there for 6 months. And for me as the operations director, that process was it's just so simplified and easy to achieve the goals that we did. It showed us that we were deficient in several areas. I think the most important part for us is the marketing side. We acknowledge that there is a role that's not being fulfilled, and we understand that now. The other thing is storeman, having a full-time storeman there, and the other one was who's doing what in sales. Where are they positioned? Because those three items were critical parts that were plaguing the business, and that potentially is going to change now because we can see the benefit it will bring to the business. We never thought that way before, so the H factor is potentially a saviour of the business. But it definitely highlighted the problem for us. So there's a whole combination of things that the team now want, so they can do their jobs and perform and achieve their KPIs. Where before it was how do we do this? It wasn't a conversation before because they just thought, the tools I've got is all I've got to work with. So you might have the world's best computer, you might have the world's best phone, but they're useless if you don't have the things to back you up behind the scenes. You certainly couldn't do it by yourself. Yeah, you need that external. I answered all the questions myself. When I originally looked at this, I was thinking, how am I going to manage this? Because myself in my role, I am actually quite time poor, and I didn't want to spread myself too thin. It's basically given me the surety that the investment that we've made into the H factor is continuing, and that someone is still making sure that it's being implemented. And it's certainly helped me continue as the director rather than getting bogged into the system. Yep. It's actually what it has highlighted to me is that I need to achieve my KPIs, where before it was like, oh yeah, I'll get to that when I get to it. Now it's like, no, I have a responsibility for that part of my job description and what I need to do. So there's some KPIs that I put on myself through the system. One of the things that H factor has given us is with tenders, and we've been successful on a couple of major tenders that we never thought. We tendered before and we'd lost. I was able to pull that information from the H factor and then put that into the tender, which took 5 minutes. Where the H factor's layout was very professional, easy to copy and paste into the tender. Just that alone has paid for itself. And I'll go back to the words during the implementation was, Warren, how do you see your business in the perfect world? Because that's what we want to achieve. So in 5 and 10 years, that's that planning side of it. And that's one thing it's given me is going, like during my last holiday, I was able to go, no, hang on, those people need to be there. I don't need to be there for this. Where before it's like, I have to be there at 7:30 in the morning and I have to micromanage this. And that's one of the things it's given me and says, no, hang on, people are responsible, people are doing their job, so I can concentrate on what I'm supposed to be doing. Absolutely. The H factor has stepped us up to another level. We can talk about quality assurance, and we are a quality assured company. And I feel that both the H factor and ISO 9001 actually come together on how we do things and who's responsible for those things, and that is a quality issue. The H factor gives you that professionalism that the auditor's going to go, I can leave them alone. So when you're audited by an auditor, and the question is okay, show us your records, that's the difference in that we're not going, okay, where am I looking here? It gave us a savings because we have the documentation in place. It also gives us an area where we can actually put our meetings and the minutes of our meetings. It's easy to find and everyone's got access to it. It's a CRM for internal, but it's easy to use. So and we're still using, we're still building on that, and we're only probably just scratching the surface of what we could use it for the future. So those sort of things and processes for meetings is really important. So recommendations, absolutely. Staff engagement. So with COVID, it's changed the way we do business. There's no question about it. I can't travel to New South Wales and they can't travel here. So, I was asked a few questions saying, well, how are we going to do this? What do you want to do? And I was able to come back to him with some pretty rock solid answers and say, no, hang on. Everything is in place. We have a corporate structure. We have employee structure on their job descriptions, and that things are able to be cemented in on the way we do things as a corporation. I was able to discuss the fact that I will not accept an us and them mentality, and remote offices if not done correctly, the whole system can collapse. The H factor has actually given us the cement to make sure that we're combining and keeping the business running. So KPIs, I'd say, is the biggest thing. That when we're asked a question or a curly question, how are you performing, what are you doing, it's given us a reference point to discuss. And if things have changed, well, we know we've got to, there's no blurred lines anymore. When things need to improve, we've got an improvement point.